You betcha, I'm George, and today we're going to be talking about my Asgard's Wrath review, as well as I'm going to give you guys some tips and talk about the ending and a possible explanation near the end of the video, and I'll give you a warning of spoilers before then. And with that, let's hop into the video. We're going to start off with the tips. Now, one of the biggest tips I can tell you is that you get a lot of hack silver, which is basically the currency in the game, and you can definitely spend that money in the store in the game to buy things like animal hide fragments, which you definitely need, which are hard to find, but they're very cheap and you can get them from the dealer in Asgard. And don't be afraid to spend that hack silver, but you just remember, if you do spend it on more expensive things like dragon eggs, then it also costs hack silver to upgrade stuff, so you don't want to spend all your money, so just remember that. You can also sell weapons and body parts, which actually give you quite a bit of hack silver to upgrade stuff and buy other stuff in there too. Now, Asgard's Wrath is a very long game. It's about 25 hours long, and it took me about 19 episodes of about an hour and a half each to end up beating, because the side quests are actually very long in this game, along with the main story. And one of the biggest tips along with this I'd give you guys is to definitely pace yourself right away if you get this game, because going into god form and then back to the ground level in human form can definitely, you have to get your sea legs for that one. So definitely just take it slow right away and get into it, and then it should be fine, which it was for me after that. Now let's talk about the playable characters, the heroes. The Shield Maiden, which was the first character you get to be, was my favorite. I really liked just the combat, and I like that the characters have quips too when you're playing, because there's actually a good variation of characters you get to be. There's also lots of variety of weapons you can use. You have hero weapons which don't break, and you can also pick up any other weapon that anybody else is using and use, which gives a good variety for what you can do. There's also lots of upgradability for your heroes and your weapons to make yourself stronger and more deadly, which is always a good thing in games, I think, to keep you coming back for more and wanting to do better and better and upgrade your character. Next, we're gonna talk about your followers, because in this game you are this isn't really too big of a spoiler, you learn this like immediately, and you probably learned this if you just watch a trailer or anything, but you're the god of animals in Asgard's Wrath, and you get to make different animals into your followers, and there's actually a very wide variety of followers, which I really enjoyed that they did this in the game. Like, I don't know if there's actually any Asgard gods that are actually the god of animals that do anything like this, but just introducing this is pretty cool, this mechanic. These followers each have special skills which allow us for puzzles and all the different ways to solve them, which I think is also a cool thing they did in this game. One of the best things about the followers though is they have like a happiness or sadness system. So if you, after a battle, they want to high five and you fist bump them, and then they get happy, or you feed them and then they get happy again. But they do get sad by dying. But the thing is, they die quite a bit in battle if they're not upgraded, which there's a lot of them, so it's kind of hard to keep them all upgraded. But they die anyways, usually, as long as if they're not at range, basically, especially against the hard enemies. And they're also slow sometimes, which I think would be one of the other biggest con with the followers. It's trying to get them to solve the puzzles, and they're just slowly going over to it. Like, this game's already 25 hours long, catch you a little faster, you know? Now, the enemies were kind of interesting in this game, because a lot of them had shields, which is basically like these runic pieces of shields, or they had like 2 bars or 1 bar or whatever, but you had to parry their signature attack, which was blue, and then you could break that armor, and then you could do damage to them. It was kind of interesting that they went with this, because it's pretty easy to kill almost all the heroes with just their regular health, but it takes for a long time, because you have to get their rage bar filled up before they do the signature attack, and then you can block that or parry that and get the runic piece destroyed. So it's kind of interesting. I think I would have personally enjoyed more of just a straight health system, but the thing is, we're still not that advanced in VR. Like, we have Boneworks starting to get more physically realistic now, but like, this game isn't super physically realistic, because I remember I was testing the sword right away, trying to stab something. You can't really stab anything, and then like one of the best way to kill anything, I think, was just to wiggle your weapon, and it just did really fast attacks. So like stuff like that's not super physically realistic. So it's maybe, since they have that kind of a fighting mechanic, I think it's better that they actually went with the shields that you have to break, and then they also have unblockable attacks which you have to dodge. So yeah, since it's not physically realistic, I think it's a good idea they did go with that parrying and runic armor shields. But hopefully in the future, I'm looking forward to more realistic fighting, as maybe tracking the whole body, maybe move more in the real world and attack and dodge. That's one of the great things that the Quest can kind of do, because you can move more freely without any cables or anything. So I'm looking forward to that in the future. The variation of enemies, it was okay. It could have been better, but I mean, it definitely wasn't bad. They did have a decent amount, I'd say. From their zombies basically to their stronger minions. They're basically like mini bosses. So I did enjoy that, especially the mini bosses. Now we're gonna talk about the bosses, the god bosses, not the basically mini bosses, as I would say. Now these fights with the boss, with the other gods, since you were a god, I would say it was the highlight of the game. Especially, so it's a little bit of spoiler, not too bad, but Tyr was the first god that you fight anyways, and that was by far the best fight, or that was the highlight of the game. Actually, right away you fight the Kraken, which is actually a big highlight too, I'd say, but Tyr I think was the most fun. And I'm glad they actually made that fight a little bit longer too, since it was such a fun fight. Now we're going to talk about the ending. So there are spoilers here, so if you don't want any spoilers about the ending, click away now. You can come watch this once you beat it. In the ending, you get to fight Loki, and as your final test. Once you give him all the stones, or they're not like infinity stones, but they're basically like courage stone and fool stone and all these other stones, you all give to Loki, because basically you're his pawn, and then he fights you as the final test, and he reveals that you were in a prison the whole time, or in his prison, which was an illusion the whole time, and then you fight him, and then he somehow steals like your stone, your essence, and then he traps you there and gets out. That's basically the gist of the ending. And I really thought that wasn't going to be the real ending, that I was going to have to fight Odin or something after that, and I was kind of surprised when the credits started rolling. So that was definitely confusing, and I was expecting a lot more. But I also, in the ending, I found, if you watch my video, I found a mysterious artifact that Loki left behind, which I believe, after reading some stuff online, because I wasn't sure what it meant right away, that actually it's about a possible Egyptian god spin-off. And one of the developers of the game actually commented on a Reddit post that asked about that. And I'm pretty sure that's correct. That's what they're working on, which is kind of cool. There's me another game. Hopefully it'll be even better than this one. This was a pretty good game though. I did enjoy it a lot. So about the ending, it was kind of confusing, but I found this post on Reddit that makes the most sense to what I think that actually happened. So I'll read it to you guys. Loki is imprisoned for killing his brother, Baldur. Being the trickster god, he makes his prison into a tavern in order to make it more pleasant. Other gods can come and go as they please, breaking in and out of the illusion. But Loki lacks the power to do so himself because he's imprisoned there. He realizes in order to break out, he'll need to reassemble a stone for a staff, but the stone requires piecing together several stones that you can only get from the extreme devotion or emotions of mortals in your name. This is where you come in. You're a new god, a god of animals. You know nothing of this history, and so you are the perfect mark for Loki. He tricks you into unknowingly entering into his prison and recruits you under his wing to train you. It's obvious early on that Loki is after the stones you were retrieving, but I guess your god is kind of an idiot. And the other gods don't like you because you're friends with Loki and seem to be doing his bidding. But they don't seem to know you or aren't aware that Loki is actually stuck in the tavern. Some of the people of the tavern are actually other gods who are chummy with Loki, but most of the tavern is an illusion. This is made clear after you give Loki all the stones and he destroys the illusion, including all the inhabitants of the cavern. Everything outside of the tavern is real, and it is necessary for Loki to escape his prison. Since he can't leave the tavern, you go out for him. Once you defeat Loki, the Infinity Stone he forged with the stones you gave him fully formed. I can agree with his other explanation, which is the other stones gave him the power to steal your power, because he got the stone after you defeated him, which is kind of weird. That's the thing that was really weird. You defeated Loki, and then he entrapped you. Like, how does that make sense when you defeated him? This allows Loki to finally leave, but as a parting gift, he puts the tavern back together for you. You are now stuck in Loki's prison and cannot leave, but at least he made it cozy for you. So this is what I basically believe with what happened at the ending. I mean, in terms of what was an illusion, what wasn't, I think basically everything was an illusion besides probably the main gods like Tyr, and because I think he made his prison into the illusion so the other gods would come there and hang out, basically. Like Odin was real when he sent you to Jotunheim and all that kind of stuff. And take it with a grain of salt, because we don't know if this is exactly right, but this is what I think actually happened in the ending. So that's it for this video. I actually really enjoyed playing Asgard's Wrath, and I was kind of disappointed when it ended, but I'm looking forward to the future of VR games. I kind of talked in that episode about how, you know, there was still that little bit disconnect where like I could see the boundaries, and like my body wasn't like fully tracked, that it kind of brought me out of it and like reminded myself that it wasn't real. So I'm really looking forward to the future where like I'm fully immersed and I can't even tell the difference. Like it just would be so cool to me. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, I've been George. Peace out.